The fluorescent lights of Meridian Tech's HR office hummed as Iris Caldwell slid her resignation letter across the desk. 2 weeks' notice, typed in perfect Helvetica, signed in blue ink that matched her eyes. "We're sorry to see you go," Marcus Chin said, though his left eyebrow twitched, his tell when he lied. 5 years she'd worked here. 5 years of quiet competence that everyone had mistaken for exploitable weakness. "I have one request," Iris said, her voice steady. "My final paycheck, I want it in coins. Silver coins specifically. 30 of them." She placed a folded paper on his desk. "American Silver Eagles, 1 ounce each. Current market value matches my final payment exactly." Marcus frowned as he scanned her calculations. Her remaining salary, accrued vacation time, the performance bonus from Q3 when her algorithm had saved the company $2.3 million. It totaled $912.60. 30 silver coins at current market rates, calculated to the second decimal point. "This is unusual, Iris. The employment contract states payment may be made in any legal tender." She smiled, and something in that smile made Marcus's skin prickle. "I've checked with legal. They confirmed it this morning." After Iris left, Marcus called legal. They verified her story. She'd been thorough. She'd always been thorough. What Marcus didn't know was that Iris had been counting for 5 years. Not hours or days, but betrayals. 30 times her work had been stolen, her late nights weaponized into someone else's promotion, her quiet competence mistaken for weakness. 30 times. Exactly 30. She had a list, encrypted on a thumb drive she wore around her neck. Color-coded. Red for theft of intellectual property. Blue for credit taken. Green for active sabotage. Yellow for passive complicity. The night before resigning, Iris had reviewed the list one final time. 30 moments when she'd been treated as invisible. 30 betrayals, each small enough to ignore individually, but collectively forming a pattern as clear as a constellation. She'd started the list in therapy, documenting specific instances to separate feeling from fact. What began as homework became evidence. A map of exactly how a person gets erased in plain sight. Devin Foster heard about the coins from Karina in accounting on a Tuesday that felt like every other Tuesday until it didn't. Iris Caldwell? She's leaving, and demanded her final check in silver coins. 30 pieces. Like some kind of biblical. Devin's coffee cup shattered on the counter. He walked out, leaving Karina calling after him. In his corner office, the one with the bay view that had come with his promotion 18 months ago, he pulled up archived emails, scrolling back until he found it. Project Helix. March 2023. The algorithm that had made him VP of Innovation. The algorithm that powered 3 of Meridian Tech's flagship products. The algorithm Iris had actually created during a 6-week sprint where she'd practically lived at the office. He'd taken credit during a meeting she'd missed due to her mother's emergency surgery. She'd called from the hospital, her voice small and frightened, asking him to present her findings. "Just walk them through the slides. Tell them I'll answer questions tomorrow." But the board had been impressed. The CEO had been present. And when they'd asked who'd led the project, Devin had hesitated for only a fraction of a second before saying, "My team and I." By the time Iris returned, the narrative was set. Devin Foster, boy genius. Corner office. 40% raise. Feature in TechCrunch. Iris had said nothing. She'd just smiled that strange smile and returned to her desk. Now, staring at his monitor, Devin realized something that made his stomach turn to ice. Iris knew exactly how to play the game. She'd just been playing a different game entirely. 30 pieces of silver. The biblical reference wasn't accidental. The price of betrayal. The amount Judas had been paid. The knowledge spread through Meridian Tech like a virus. In legal, Gwen Merrick remembered the patent filing from 2 years ago. She'd changed the inventor's name from Iris Caldwell to Gwen Merrick. Just one name, swapped in a digital second. The patent had been approved, and Gwen had made partner. Iris had never said a word. In sales, Troy Hammond remembered grabbing Iris's client contact list, contacts she'd spent months cultivating. His record-breaking quarter had earned him Salesman of the Year and a trip to Hawaii. Iris had been reassigned to less lucrative accounts after her numbers dropped, because Troy had taken her entire pipeline. Across the building, similar reckonings unfolded. Simon York remembering the harassment complaint he'd witnessed but denied. Karina Walsh recalling the budget error she'd made that nearly got Iris fired. 30 moments of betrayal across 5 years, distributed among Meridian Tech's employees like a toxic dividend. Each betrayal had seemed small, justifiable, the kind of corner cutting that happened in every office. But Iris had counted them all. The coins arrived on Iris's last day in a velvet-lined wooden box, delivered by armored car at 10 a.m. Marcus insisted on presenting them in the main conference room, turning the bizarre request into a ceremony. He'd even ordered expensive pastries. Couldn't just do direct deposit like a normal person, Troy muttered, but his voice shook. Iris entered at 10:15, exactly on time, wearing white, an ivory suit none of her coworkers had seen before. She looked like she was attending a wedding or a funeral. Perhaps both. The entire R&D department had gathered, along with executives who'd normally never attend a resignation. The CFO stood awkwardly by the windows. 2 board members dialed in via video conference. Marcus opened the box with unnecessary flourish. The coins gleamed under the recessed lighting, each stamped with Walking Liberty on one side and an eagle on the other. 30 American silver eagles, as requested. Marcus tried to sound jovial. Though I still don't understand why. Because I wanted everyone to see them, Iris interrupted softly. She lifted one coin to the light. Beautiful, aren't they? Each one worth about $30.42. 30 pieces for 30 betrayals. The room went silent. Marcus began. You don't know? Iris's laugh was gentle, almost kind, which somehow made it more terrible. Let me enlighten you. She placed the first coin on the table with a soft clink. Devon Foster. Project Helix. March 17, 2023. My algorithm, your promotion, your TechCrunch profile. Devon's face went gray. Clink, another coin. Gwen Merrick. The Patterson patent. April 2022. My 18 months of research, your name on the filing, your partnership. Asterisk clink. Clink. Clink, asterisk. Troy Hammond. Client list theft. November 2022. My relationships, your record quarter, your trip to Maui. Karina Walsh. Budget manipulation. June 2023. Your accounting error, nearly my termination. Simon York. Sexual harassment complaint. January 2023. You witnessed it, you denied it, the contractor stayed. She named them all. 30 coins, 30 names, 30 moments. Some people she named twice, 3 times. Devon's name came up 4 times. Each instance stated, each impact quantified. Some were in the room, faces crumbling. Others were names from the past, people who'd left for Google or Facebook, but who'd trained the current crop in the same ruthless culture. Marcus appeared 3 times. The pastries sat untouched, growing stale in the terrible silence. When all 30 coins lay spread across the table like scales of judgment, Iris looked up. "I want you all to know something," she said, her voice still gentle. "I forgive you." The words hung in the air, more terrifying than any threat. "I forgive you because I understand now. You're not bad people. You're just ordinary." She let the word land like a slap. And ordinary people do terrible things when they think no one's counting, when they convince themselves this is just how things work, that it's not personal. She smiled, sad and knowing. "But I was counting. I'm always counting. And I want you to know that I see you. All of you. Exactly as you are." The CFO left first. The board members disconnected. One by one, people fled, leaving half-drunk coffee and untouched pastries. Only Marcus remained, staring at the 30 coins. "Why?" he asked. "Why not sue us? Why not go to the press? Why this?" Iris gathered the coins carefully. "Because lawsuits can be settled. Press coverage fades. But this? This you'll remember. Every single one of you will remember the day your colleague held up a mirror, and you saw exactly what you'd become." She walked out at 10:47 a.m., the wooden box under her arm, her white suit glowing in the morning sun. What no one knew was that the coins weren't the point. They were theater, beautiful, memorable theater. The point was the email that went out at 4:47 p.m. Pacific, precisely timed for maximum impact on the East Coast news cycle. It went to the SEC, the FBI's white-collar crime division, the Department of Labor, and 3 major tech journalism outlets. Subject line: 5 years of evidence, systemic fraud at Meridian Tech. The attachment was 847 pages long. 5 years of meticulously documented evidence. Every stolen idea had a paper trail, emails, timestamped documents, chat logs. Every falsified report had metadata showing when it had been altered and by whom. Every illegal practice had a witness statement. Iris had spent 5 years building relationships with people everyone else ignored. The night shift janitor who'd seen executives shredding documents at 2 a.m. The executive assistant who'd been asked to backdate contracts and kept copies. The IT contractor who'd archived emails he'd been told to delete. The cafeteria worker who'd overheard merger discussions before they were public. Iris had befriended them all, not only strategically, but genuinely. Raphael had a daughter studying engineering. May was writing a novel. James was teaching himself cybersecurity. Dorothy sent money home to 6 grandchildren she'd never met. Iris had learned their stories, remembered their birthdays, asked about their lives. And when she'd explained what she was documenting, they'd helped her. They'd seen the same patterns, been treated as furniture by the same people who'd stolen Iris's work. The coins had been theater designed to make the story irresistible. "Tech company pays final wages in biblical silver" was a headline that wrote itself, a hook that would create enough interest that people would actually read the boring parts. The financial fraud. The securities violations. The systematic IP theft. By the time the real story emerged, everyone would already be paying attention. Devin Foster understood at 6:32 p.m. when 2 federal agents knocked on his door. "Devin Foster? I'm Special Agent Chen with the FBI. We have some questions about Project Helix and your role in certain financial irregularities at Meridian Tech." "You have the right to remain silent." Marcus Chen understood at 7:15 p.m. when the SEC froze Meridian Tech's trading pending investigation into material misrepresentations to shareholders. The company's stock price began to crater. Shareholders filed lawsuits. The board convened emergency sessions. His mother called asking if she should sell her retirement fund holdings. "Yes, Mom," he said tiredly. "Sell them all." By 9 p.m., #SilverCoinsBetrayal was trending worldwide. Thousands shared their own stories of workplace credit theft. Someone created a TikTok explaining the Judas reference, 17 million views. The New York Times was writing a feature for Sunday's business section. By midnight, 3 executives had resigned. By morning, the stock had cratered 42%, wiping out billions in market capitalization. Iris watched it unfold from a coffee shop in Portland, 3 states away, drinking cold chamomile tea and reading headlines on her laptop. She'd driven straight through after leaving the office. Her San Francisco apartment was already sublet, her belongings in storage. She'd already accepted a position at Athena Technologies, run by 3 women who'd been pushed out of Meridian Tech years before. They'd believed her story instantly. They'd asked one question that mattered: "What do you need from us to do your best work?" Not, "Can you work under pressure?" Just, "What do you need?" Iris had almost cried. "Did it feel good?" her new boss Celeste asked over video chat. The revenge? Iris considered this, watching the numbers update. The stock was down another 3%. A class action lawsuit had been filed. "It didn't feel like revenge," she said finally. "It felt like accounting. Like I'd been keeping track of debts that were never going to be paid voluntarily, and I finally just balanced the books." "And the coins? The theater?" Iris smiled. "People don't remember spreadsheets or emails or even federal investigations. But they'll remember the coins. They'll remember 30 pieces of silver, and they'll think about what it means to betray someone for convenience. Some of them might even change." "Do you believe that? That people can change?" "I believe people can count," Iris said. "I believe that if enough people start counting, really counting, then maybe the math stops working for the betrayers. Maybe it gets too expensive. Too risky." She closed her laptop and looked out at the Portland rain, steady and cleansing. The books would balance eventually. They always did. It just took someone willing to count. 3 months later, Marcus Chin sat in an office that was no longer his, in a building that barely qualified as a company anymore. Meridian Tech had become a hollowed-out shell being picked apart by lawyers and liquidators. The company would survive in some form, but smaller, chastened. Marcus would not survive. His resignation had been accepted with unseemly haste. His stock options were worthless. His reputation, carefully built over 15 years, was demolished. He'd kept one of the silver coins. As evidence of his own stupidity, perhaps. Or as a reminder. He turned it over in his fingers, alone in the empty office, watching Liberty walk eternally forward on one side, the eagle spread its wings on the other. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hello? Marcus." Iris's voice was unmistakable. "I hope you're doing well. You destroyed the company. You destroyed lives. Careers. Devin's facing federal charges. Gwen's been disbarred. Troy's wife left him. Was it worth it?" "I didn't destroy anything," Iris corrected gently. "You all destroyed the company. I just documented it." "There's a difference, Marcus." "Semantics." "No. Truth. You destroyed the company by building it on theft and lies, by creating a culture where betrayal was just another Tuesday. I just turned on the lights." Marcus was too tired to argue. What do you want, Iris? To tell you something. Those coins? They're not just silver. They're evidence too. Each one is laser engraved with a microscopic serial number and date. Each corresponds to a specific betrayal. The one you kept? That's number 17. March 17, 2023. The day you recommended Devon for the VP position that should have been mine. Marcus looked down at the coin, seeing it differently. Not a memento but a receipt. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to understand something that took me 5 years to learn. Iris's voice was soft, almost compassionate. Betrayal isn't abstract. It has weight. It has value. It happens on specific dates at specific times. It's as real as silver, as hard as coin. And someone is always counting, even if you can't see them doing it. She paused, and Marcus heard something chilling. She was smiling. Keep the coin, Marcus. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Let it remind you that the people you hurt are not NPCs in your story. They're protagonists of their own stories, with their own agency, their own memory, their own capacity for action. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And protagonists, Marcus? Protagonists don't forget. They count. They plan. They wait. And eventually, inevitably, the books come due. The line went dead. Marcus sat as the sun set over Silicon Valley, holding the physical embodiment of his own moral failure. He thought about Iris Caldwell, quiet Iris who'd worn cardigans and smiled and said please and thank you. Iris who'd smiled when they'd stolen from her and made notes when they'd lied and counted when they'd thought she'd forgotten. He thought about how ordinary cruelty is, how easy betrayal becomes when you convince yourself everyone does it, when you stop seeing people around you as fully human. The coin pulsed in his hand like a heartbeat, like a countdown, like a warning received too late. 30 pieces of silver. 30 betrayals counted. One truth learned too late. Somewhere, someone is always counting. Marcus Chen kept that coin for the rest of his life. In his wallet during the unemployment months that stretched into a year. On his desk when he finally found work again, middle management at a company that had never heard of Meridian Tech, at half his old salary. By his bedside as he learned that redemption is possible but never comfortable. He never spent it, though there were months when he needed the money. He kept it as a reminder. Of Iris. Of his failure. Of the moment he'd learned that invisible people are simply people you've failed to see. Years later, when his daughter asked about the strange coin in the wooden box on his dresser, Marcus told her the story. All of it. Was she right? His daughter asked. She was 12. To do what she did? Marcus turned the coin over, watching Liberty walk forward. The eagle spread its wings. She was accurate, he said finally. Whether she was right, that's harder. But accuracy has its own power. Its own justice. Some said Iris Caldwell had gotten excessive revenge. Others said she'd performed a public service. Both groups missed the point. Iris hadn't sought revenge or justice or any grand concept. She'd simply insisted on being seen. On being counted. On being treated as a person whose work had value, whose time had worth, whose humanity deserved recognition. And in a world that had spent 5 years treating her as invisible, as a resource to be mined, a problem to be managed, that simple insistence had been the most radical act of all. Not revenge. Not justice. Just, I am here. I see you. I count. And you will remember that someone was counting.